This is where we enter a death spiral. It's what I call a death spiral in the book. Raising taxes and cutting spending results in an even greater shortfall in the government's budget. So the government freaks out. We got to fix this. We got to get more money to pay this debt payment so we don't have to default. And this is when the death spiral begins. Because the government can't borrow to cover its spending needs anymore, and because its debt payments are so high, no matter what it does, things only get worse. It's already happened. Anybody remember Greece after the Great Recession? Anybody remember the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009? After joining the Euro area in 2001, Greece looked fairly successful, with annual real GDP growth that averaged about 4% to 2007. Okay, GDP. That's just the measure of the size of the economy, gross domestic product. That means the economy rose. Overall, what we produce in the economy rose by about 4% a year in Greece. That's what it's saying. But its growth, notice this, was based too much on fiscal deficit spending. That means the government was borrowing money and spending it to make the economy grow. Does that sound familiar? Too much on fiscal deficit spending and foreign borrowing. That's what we're talking about. With the recession caused by the global financial and economic crisis, that's the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, Greece's fiscal deficit and debt rose to high levels. By April 2010, the Greek government effectively lost access to regular borrowing. Isn't that what I just explained to you? The interest rate at which the Greek government could issue new government bonds rose to prohibitively high levels. Either the Greek government had to instantly slash government spending and enact a massive tax increase, or it needed an official rescue. Anybody remember what happened? They had to do all of that. They went into something called austerity, where the government basically stopped spending anything. They were going into bank accounts and taking money from people. It got so bad. And eventually the wealthy nations of Europe bailed them out. Let me ask you a question. Why will no one be able to bail us out? Because we're the richest guy in town. And when all the little serfs down the road lose all their money, how are they possibly going to bail us out? At some point down the line, the U.S. government will meet the same fate as Greece. It will slowly be pushed further and further into a financial corner, having enormous spending obligations like Social Security, Medicare, Obamacare, pressuring from the right, shrinking income due to tax increases and spending cuts from the left, and massive debt payments coming up from the rear. Every month that goes by, the situation will only worsen. To slow the fall, the government may attempt to negotiate better terms with its creditors, but that will only make borrowing harder and more expensive later on. It may also implement additional rounds of spending cuts and tax hikes, but that will only increase the budget gap. It may even consider defaulting on a portion of the debt, but that will close the door on borrowing completely and may bring an end to trade with key trade partners or even war. Once the spiral begins, there is no getting out of it. The magnitude of the financial obligations at play will not allow it. The only way it ends is in a total default on the entirety of the debt and a complete collapse of the federal government and national economy.